Hello champions and future champions. Hello Chessmood family. GM Gabuzyan is here with you and we're beginning our daily lesson video. Today we're going to see cooperation of queen and the bishop in opposite colored bishop's position. Here it's white to move, and without much explanation now I will just ask you to pause the video and think about white's best continuation. In a few seconds, guys, I will reveal for you the most famous rule in opposite color bishop's position. Now let's understand which of white pieces requires to be improved. Queen on d3 is staying very well. It's blocking the pawn and has a good control of the light squares. White rooks are successfully controlling the e-file and their double tap. Bishop on e4 is attacking pawn on b7, but let's admit that this is not the full potential of this bishop. So, white is deciding to transfer this bishop behind of the queen. So, white is going to bring it to this diagonal on b1 or c2 square. And the most important rule is that in opposite colored bishops, the side who is attacking is doing great, is having an advantage. What is the reason of this? When we're attacking with the power of bishop and queen through the light squares, opponent's bishop can do nothing about it. This bishop cannot be a good defender. And this means when we are attacking, we're basically having an extra piece in attack. So this is the most important and famous rule. We need to bring our bishop to the right spot. Here white played in the game bishop to f5. Black is underestimating white's idea and goes rook d5 with a question, what are you doing? What's the intention of your bishop f5 move is? It's a very smart one. White goes bishop to e6 and after rook d6 white goes bishop to a2. Now white has a huge potential of attack through the a2 g8 diagonal as well as b1 h7. Queen can go to here to b3 square and as well bishop can go to b1. Either way, white is going to make a huge pressure on opponent's position. Later on in the game, black got punished for underestimating white's idea and lost the game. At the beginning, after bishop f5, black was supposed to play differently, and since king is gonna get under the attack, black was supposed to bring queen closer and try to protect it. Queen f7 was a good move, with an idea after bishop e6 to go queen g6. Of course, if now white is trading off the queens, there is not gonna be any strong attack on the king after king takes. That's why, after queen g6, white was going to play rook e4 in the game, but after takes and rook takes e4, at least black managed to trade off one pair of the rooks, which is a little bit simplifying the position, as maybe white will not have enough resources for the attack. Still, white is going to transfer this bishop to the diagonal and try to make a pressure. Now, we know the important rule. Let's go ahead to the next example and try to use our knowledge. At this moment, it's black to move. And now you can pause the video and use the idea which you just learned from the previous position. As we already know, we need to include our bishop into attack. Now black is playing bishop d6 move. Idea is to go queen to e5 and create a battery, making pressure on opponent's king position. In the game, white played bishop c4 and now a logical move, queen e5. The battery is ready, now we're threatening queen h2 and queen h1 checkmate. White has to cover this threat, and is going g3. Now one more time, I offer you to pause the video and think how to continue in this position. Since our opponent is creating obstacles on our way and has a solid pawn chain, we need to weaken this. Black is now playing f4, and what's the idea is that after takes and queen f4, there is no longer pawn on e3. This means we will have bishop c5 ideas very often using this diagonal. Here, if white is going rook a2, trying to protect this f2 spot, as I mentioned, the strong move is bishop to c5. And if king h1, there is a nice move by black which is queen to h6. With the tempo, we're attacking the pawn on h3. White now goes king g2, and another time, let's pause the video and think about a cool move by black. Black was having a wonderful e3 idea now. The thing is that whenever white takes, this pawn is gonna be super weakened. Black can play at this moment already bishop d6, since we no longer need bishop on this diagonal, and this pressure is just decisive, guys. Now, for example, after some kind of g4 move, queen h4 seems to be really strong. So, for this reason, after queen takes f4, in the game white didn't play rook a2, having in the mind all of these attacking options, and played rook takes d6. But now black is simply getting an extra exchange with queen takes d6, having a huge advantage. And after queen e4, even though it's winning for black in many ways, I will ask you to pause the video the last time here and try to find the best continuation. We need to use the fact that these pawns are barely protected. Black goes now queen c5, attacking the pawn on f2, at the same time pinning it. And after some kind of rook f1, we can take on g3. As I mentioned, pawn is pinned. Another time, we saw an example when one of the sides created an attack with opposite colored bishop. And also we saw that the other bishop was absolutely useless. So this means the main and important rule is not a myth and it's working out, guys. Let's go ahead to see our next one. Here, it's black to move. We have a little better pawn chain since white has doubled pawns and we don't. As well, white bishop on c6 is kinda out of the game. Meanwhile, we have some potential with our bishop. You can pause the video and think how this bishop on g5 can be improved. Now black is going to d8 square with the bishop with an intention to go to c7 and another time create a battery. White takes on c5, pawn takes, and goes rook to b1. It's also a smart play. White is trying to open up the b file and make some activity. We keep going bishop to c7. Bishop a4, with an idea to bring this bishop back into the game. But actually white is too late, and in the game black played in a very nice way. You can pause the video another time and try to find it. Black plays e4 move at this moment, opening up the battery of queen and the bishop. In the game white played pawn takes e4, pawn takes, and rook takes f7. Rook takes f7, and now white cannot be taking the pawn on e4, as after queen g3, this king is gonna be crying. After queen g2, we're just keeping the queen on the board very importantly. I mentioned it several times. When you attack, you need to keep the queens. Black goes queen to e3 with a rook f2 threat, and other threats as well. So, after rook takes f7, white tried to play bishop d1 and bring this bishop back. Here, it's black to move, and another time I'm going to ask you, are you going to take the pawn on g3, or what would you play here? Pause the video and think about it. Taking on g3 may still be good, but it's a huge mistake out of practical perspectives. When opponent's king is terribly weakened, we shouldn't be trading off the queens if we even have a little bit other choice. After takes, okay, black is staying with an extra pawn, but white may find some game after rook b6 move, attacking the pawns. If rook f1, white goes king g2, rook takes d1, king g3. Even though this can be good or not, it's already not the case. We need to keep the queens. After bishop d1, in the game, black played a strong e3 move. Now we're using power of this pawn and threatening to play rook f2. For that reason, white goes bishop f3 and is covering the f file. But now h4 is coming. The thing is that after pawn takes h4, black is winning with rook takes f3. And after queen takes, here is a checkmate on h2 square. For this reason, after h4 in the game, white played rook to f1, but it's absolutely lost after pawn takes g3. Whenever this bishop moves, we will be able to play rook f2 as well, get super strong passed pawns, otherwise black has a huge advantage. Strong pawns, white's king's position is destroyed. So, another time we're seeing power of attack in opposite colored bishop's positions. And the great tool for this is battery of the queen and the bishop. Now, let's go ahead to the next position, which is going to be your homework. Here it's white to move, and I know that you are guessing you need to improve this bishop. You can share your thoughts and ideas how to do this in the comments section below. Gabuzyan was here with you. Thank you for your subscriptions, likes, and sharing this video with your friends. We appreciate it a lot. See you next time during our next daily lessons.